Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Broadway Jets YouTube channel. You'll know me from Twitter as NYJ Mike. I'm joined as always by the master of receipts, NYJ Matt, with a fresh haircut. And Matt, today we're gonna discuss Aaron Rodgers versus Derek Carr, pros and cons, who we want on the team. There's a variation of reasons for either. Good stuff.
Yeah, and we've talked about it a little bit, but given that Derek Carr just met with the New York Jets this past weekend, and the viral picture is amazing, right? That I saw that tweet when it had like 3 likes, and I had to really zoom in and make sure it wasn't fake before I retweeted it and quote tweeted it.
I
And then
thought
it
you
blew.
just sent it to like our group chat. I thought you saw them. I got excited
No,
for a
oh,
second.
dude, that'd be great. But I got in a lot of trouble for saying that you shouldn't wear hats in restaurants, which I'm a hat guy. But like if you're
Yeah.
at a real and we can wear a hat to any bar or whatever, but if you're sitting down in an Italian restaurant, I found it funny that Nathaniel Hackett was wearing a hat. But I
Yeah.
got like drilled on Twitter for it. Got like 1,000 likes, but 200 replies of people being like, "You're a boomer scumbag." While I'm
I'm
26,
surprised.
and then the guy's profile picture, he's like 55, and I'm like, "All right, this is tough."
I'm surprised because yeah, if I go out to a very important dinner for work with like a high up person, I'm not gonna wear a base. I'm not gonna wear this hat.
But the spin zone is that Hackett might be all about ball, which I get. If that's your argument, he cares about ball. He doesn't care about social norms of Italian restaurants. All good with Hackett going with the hat. And so we'll get into it. We've talked about it a lot before, Rodgers versus Carr. And if you are here, don't forget to hit subscribe. We have had 200 net new subscribers in like a month and a half. So thank you for everyone
Let's
who's
go.
joined the army. Let's keep it going. But I think we're going to land in similar spots of, hey, Rodgers is a better talent and in a 2 year window can give you more. But the draft capital and what you need to trade for Rodgers versus signing Carr as a free agent is that balance that people argue. And there are a lot of fans that were really pro Rodgers that once Carr made his way to Florham Park, they said, you know what? Fuck it, sign him. Don't let him leave. Let's bring him in. Let's roll with it. So where do you stand on the difference between the two right now?
Yeah, I'm still holding out for Mr. Rogers. I mean, I think one of the things that people don't really take into account in favor of Derek Carr that they should more, and it's pretty obvious, is the age factor.
Yeah.
It's not like people aren't saying, "Oh, Rogers is old," and Carr is not. But the fact is that when people say to me, "Hey, I want Carr because we'll have him for 3, 4 more years after you'll have Rogers," I'm like, "Fuck that! I don't care." But it's a legitimate, real argument. It's like in 2 years, the Jets are going to have to do this again. My my argument would be that I think the Jets, once you have such a high profile guy like Rogers, either maybe he'd stay for more than 2 years, or after that, are the Jets gonna, you know, completely go off that path and try to restart the quarterback position? I don't know. Maybe they'll continue to try to go high profile at that point.
Yeah, I think you have to balance the ceiling versus floor for each. So I know the ceiling for Aaron Rodgers with this roster can be a Super Bowl. Why? He's done it before, and with this defense, he really could do it. The floor for Rodgers, I really think, with this roster is a first round exit, or you make the playoffs and maybe as a wild card team you sneak in. I don't think they can do what they did this year with Aaron Rodgers at a quarterback. The floor for Derek Carr could potentially be you're outside looking in on the playoffs. Like you're 8-9, and the ceiling is kind of unknown, right? You don't know how far he can take you. You're hoping with his defense he could take you a little bit further. So I get the Rodgers short term window, and like I think from a Jets perspective, they still have faith in Zach Wilson, and if you go with the Rodgers route where you get him for 2 years, you can technically groom Zach Wilson for 2 years and see what you can get playing behind Aaron Rodgers, and maybe he's your quarterback in 2025. I truly think that's on the Jets' radar of what to do because if you get Carr, Mike, I think you got to trade Zach Wilson because you're then banking on Carr to be there for 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, or Zach Wilson's just a backup, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
In that scenario, Derek Carr is your quarterback for the foreseeable future,
Yeah.
and Zach Wilson is a goner. I wonder where they get. I saw Connor Hughes went on someone's podcast the other day and said the Jets would get like a fifth round pick. I don't know. It seemed
I think they get more. I really think they get more.
too.
I think the team would trade a third round pick. Look how many teams need a quarterback right now. And they say, fuck it, why don't we just try it for a year? And if it falls in their face, they can move on and not get. I don't think that he's going to go for a one. But you're telling me if you're the Saints and you miss out on Derek Carr, you don't want to take a chance on Zach Wilson for a third round pick? Like, there's so many
Yeah.
teams out there that could clearly do it. I think they get way more than a 5th round pick. And we're not the biggest Zach Wilson fans. We never really, even though we bought into the hype, we tried to get it going. We were keep Sam Darnold guys, which also ended up not being like the number one case they should have done. I think the Jets right now are in a good spot. The good thing is that they brought Derek Carr in. A lot of people that were pro Rodgers didn't love even bringing him in. They wanted to wait for Rodgers to come out of darkness, but you can't stay there with no other option. You cannot leave this weekend or going to next week all your eggs in one basket. And if you fail, you get stuck with potentially a mid-veteran quarterback that you're maybe hoping for a playoff spot. You got to go after one of these guys.
It's not fun in the NFL to get spurned by one of these guys who are acting ridiculous when they're on your own team. We've seen it with Jamal Adams, stuff like that. So I agree with you. The Jets can't be in a position where you do put all your eggs in one basket with Rodgers, and then he comes out of the darkness and he's retiring, or he's doing has a new mutual unfounded respect deep inside of him for the Packers organization. So you can't let that happen. You do have to keep tabs. That's why, again, I am all in on Aaron Rodgers, and I'll be very disappointed if the Jets make a move on somebody before Rodgers gets moved, and then the move to get Rodgers is less than we thought. Stuff like that is very nerve-wracking, but
we talked about last video though. Are you going to then
yeah.
live under the assumption that I'm going to live that they had to have known? They had to have known they wouldn't have gone Rodgers, because if that happens, because what will right now, my betting scenario for the past 3 months until the past 2 weeks was they're going to get Jimmy Garoppolo. I really thought that was what was going to happen, not what I wanted to happen. And now, as the Rodgers news and the Carr news, now he's visiting, things change. I think the number one scenario right now is that the Jets are going to get Carr. Rodgers in 2.5 weeks will be traded to the Raiders, and he'll get traded for less than what everyone else was expecting. And then everyone freaks the fuck out. I think that is what's going to happen. And I think it's going to be because Carr wants to play with Devontae, wants to play maybe indoors in Vegas.
You mean Rodgers.
Rodgers, right?
Right.
But also the Rodgers going to the AFC West. You want to play against Mahomes and Herbert 4 times a year? Like, come to the East. Come to, Josh Allen looked a little vulnerable last year. Maybe you can.
Who knows if he's going to play?
Yeah,
Mac Jones is a piece of shit.
I hate Mac Jones. He's my least favorite player in the NFL. Like, and the fact that the Jets have not beaten him is horrific.
It's nauseating.
Fuck.
But they dominated him in that 10-3 loss. My question to you is, if the Jets get Jimmy G, do you trade Zach Wilson?
I would not. I think Mike White will leave in free agency. I don't think the Jets will use that much money on a back quarterback when they should. If you
plus and you're paying Zach Wilson too.
You're paying Zach Wilson. He's like the 5th highest paid guy in the roster.
Yeah.
When you're a 2nd overall pick, you're not going for nothing. So you're going to keep Zach Wilson, and you just need a backup because Jimmy Garoppolo always seems to get hurt. And even though Zach Wilson is realistically, he's like a mid to bottom tier backup in the NFL right now. You look at these teams that have backup quarterbacks that come in there and they can move the ball down the field. Look at the fucking Chiefs game, right in the playoffs. And he goes 97 yards. It's ridiculous. So I don't know, man. I'm fine with Zach Wilson being the backup for Jimmy Garoppolo, but you haven't heard enough Jets Garoppolo news, which is pretty interesting. You haven't had them linked yet. You'd hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, it would make sense because of the connection," but maybe it wouldn't. Maybe the next move would be to Tannehill after bringing in Todd Downing. So you never know. I think it's fluid, but if you're giving me 2 years, obviously I'm going Rodgers. I don't think Rodgers will be in the NFL come 2026. I just don't think he's going to keep playing. And he's going to go play golf and hook up with models. He's going to go out and do his thing, and Carr will still be in the NFL at that point. So it's a fair debate. And then, of course, the trade package, right? You can sign Carr and pay him money, but keep your 13th overall. If you get Rodgers, I think what you would do is you would trade a 2 this year. I think the Jets would try to keep their 13. I think they would trade a 2 next year, and it 2 turns into a 1 if certain things happen. So I think that will be the package. I don't think Jets would give up 2 1s. I don't even know if they'd give up 13. But if I'm the Packers, I would say the conversation starts at 13. So if you want Rodgers that bad, you're probably going to have to give it up.
Yeah, a number of things. One, the Jets could always lure Chad Henne out of retirement to be the backup.
Did he retire?
Yeah, he posted right after the Super Bowl. He's retiring.
Wow.
Dolphins legend. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you're right. The Jets will have to trade for Rodgers. At first, it was thought that you would have to trade for Carr. Now that
Mhm.
scenario is off the table. Carr is definitely going to get a ton of money. Something similar probably to what Kirk Cousins got when he was a free agent, but adjusted for time to now, where he'll be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, and he's going to be worth it statistically. But man, I just can't stop thinking about Aaron Rodgers, back-to-back MVPs. I mean, 2 years ago, 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The year before that, 48 and 5. Like these numbers are absurd. This could be the Jets quarterback.
I
And,
know,
and if
but
you really could get him without giving up 13, holy hell! For we've gone through some of the prospects. You're gonna almost certainly have a top class offensive lineman available at 13.
yeah, and I've talked about it before. Derek Carr, probably the most religious guy in the NFL. Garrett Wilson, rookie of the year speech. First, thank God. Elijah Moore, like number one God guy. Brees Hall tweeted like thanks God. Like we're building an offense where we are so religious that if there's a higher power, this team's gonna be first in offense. Like they're 100%. So
It
let's
can only help, right?
it can only help. It can only help. It's not gonna hurt.
Unless opposing religions are on the other teams.
We need the coin flip guy to flip a coin based on like the religion and see who would, you're right. Because every religion's ethnocentric and they're like, this is the best religion. But hey, if we have five guys of the same religion praying before a game, I'm taking them over someone who's not.
It's like in Madden if you're the same scheme,
Right,
you get a
right.
little bit of a boost.
Or
Yeah.
like Mario Baseball where you have chemistry, like Mario and Luigi, like up the middle, Daisy and
They
Peach.
can rob home runs, jump over the wall.
Yeah, but Carr and Rodgers, if you leave the offseason with that one of them two, you are in an infinitely better spot. Think back if you're bummed about missing out on one or not the other, and if you get Rodgers, you're saying, well, we only have him for 2 years, we have to give up capital, or if you get Carr, we missed out on Rodgers. Just take yourself back to like the Detroit game or the Patriot game where guys are being missed on like a 5 yard out. You have backups come in, they get hurt. You have another backup get in, he gets hurt. Like just take a step back and think about Chris Streveler, even though that was a cool moment being your quarterback for an important must-win game on primetime football.
It's tough.
That
Yeah.
won't happen if you have Rodgers and Carr. It won't happen.
Yeah.
So
The Carr stuff starts, you sign Carr. Now you look at the 13th pick, very exciting. The Rodgers stuff, you got to look right at the compensation. But I'd be more excited about Rodgers. And then the Rodgers stuff, then we got to talk contract. Rodgers is going to make what? What was the number that came out? It was like 15 million in 2023 and 27 million in 24, something like that.
I don't know the exact number, but all I'll tell you is that there is a clip on him with McAfee, and he's like, whatever my contract is not what it's going to be. He's like, I'm well aware that they're not going to pay me, or no team will pay me what I'm currently at, which I would, but that's what he
I don't
said.
know if Daniel Jones wants 45 million and Aaron Rodgers can't make 26.
All
But
right.
I don't know how accurate that is.
Hey, and if you made it this far, like I said, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, comment your thoughts, who you want. Mike, any parting words? We're going to talk about it a lot more probably, but for now, this is where we stand on the Rodgers Carr debate.
If the Jets come out and sign Carr within the next few days, I'm just going to be all in on Carr.
Yeah.
Good about it. Excited we got our guy. I think. Can't
Sounds
think
like
too
a
much
plan.
of. Yeah.
Let's run it back. All right. Thanks for listening, Mike. I'll talk to you soon.
Everybody.
Take care, buddy.